Yeah, but that's partially why I feel like it's a misstep. The way that they're currently treating the Taliban, if they're going to end up like not funding them, or maybe they're just going to indirectly fund them, or look the other way.
Well, they used to fund them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which we can talk about now, actually. As a matter of fact, let's just get into that, which is that the some of you may not know this.
We get into a little Bush senior action right now.
No, it's
Carter.
It's Carter going all the way back to Carter, because like yesterday I had a brief Twitter spat with this man by the name of like Joe Pags or something. I forget what he's.
Joe Pags.
He's an Italian American.
Pags.
Who is a conservative.
I'm a fucking Afghanistan expert over here.
No, he's just like a regular run of the mill conservative radio talk show host, and apparently his daughter watches me. And he's been watching me for like the past couple of days, losing his mind, and has been like trying to get me to go on his show. And I'm like, no, you're a fucking clout goblin. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, this clout shit's funny.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. That's literally what I said. And
I really hope it's a Norman Bates situation too, where he just like throws on lipstick.
There's no daughter.
Yeah, there is no daughter.
Yeah, there probably is, because like otherwise how did he hear about me? You know what I mean? But he was very upset. He was very upset that I like called him a cloud goblin. Then he called himself a cloud goblin. He didn't understand what I meant by cloud goblin.
Cloud goblin. That sounds scary
really
too.
like that, yeah.
It's either
That's
someone
like
who vapes or
the
uses
demon
a
above.
lot of storage space.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Joe Pagliarulo, sorry for the anti-Italian.
Well, that almost sounds Greek.
That was I did Italiophobia there. He said Hasan the Hun has a huge following and says we shouldn't have armed the Taliban, Mujahideen, against the USSR. So it would have been better to allow the Soviets to colonize. I do agree with an asylum for those who helped us in #Afghanistan. He gives Biden a pass for some reason. Okay, and I just said yes. Like, I do think that it would have been better if we did not fucking literally create an insurgency movement in Afghanistan, which would not have led to one of the most violent fucking conflicts for Afghanistan's history, to the tune of like 2 million people dying. Like,
well, the thing is, I think a lot of people don't understand is like we did arm them against the Soviets, like these sort of disparate groups that were sometimes aligned and sometimes fought each other. Heads usually based in Pakistan, a lot of assassinations, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But after the Soviets were out, in I think '89 is when they split. There was like a pretty brutal civil war with like hundreds of thousands of people that died using a lot of this American weaponry, right?
Yeah.
And, we sent them, I think it was, I don't remember exactly how many, but in the hundreds of Stinger missiles, right? Because that's like the famous thing from the Afghanistan-Soviet war is that the insurgency had Stinger missiles, which they could use to shoot down, helicopters.
The CIA still to this day proudly shows those Stinger missiles. Whenever they want to flex, they're like, we gave the Mujahideen these Stinger missiles so that they can use it against the gunships that the Soviets had. And it's like, dude, why are you flexing? That's still, you're admitting it.
Well, I think that's the thing. It's like, so what we did is, we flooded this area with even more weaponry than it already had. I mean, because Pakistan obviously supplied a lot of these groups with weapons as well. Obviously, a lot of them were taken from Soviets too, because Soviet battle doctrine in the Afghanistan war was probably the worst of any country in the 20th century.
They were giving up a lot from what I saw.
Insane. I mean, I read a book in it once, and it's just the dumbest shit you could ever think of.
Give me an example.
They would give up, they would surrender, then the Taliban, like the Mujahideen at the time would like literally just brutally fucking murder them, and then they would get very mad and go and just like blow up an entire fucking village with a gunship, just light it up.
Well, another thing they used to do is they would line up in sort of the same parade formation every morning or every evening before they would go out on patrol. And so the Mujahideen always knew when they were about to leave their base, because they would do this same exact...
they'd put up a bat signal.
Basically routine every single time. Also, it's a really good time to start shooting people if they're all just standing there kind of in a row listening to someone talk. And so just shit like that. The way they flew the helicopters too was not so great in terms of not getting shot down. I mean, it was just total disaster. Here's the deal. If you put a bunch of guns somewhere, or if you put a bunch of Stinger missiles somewhere, you're not taking those back, right? Like,
Right.
No.
It's like a keg. When it gets there, it stays there.
It stays there. Yeah, and once someone figures out how to get it open, it's gonna, and that's the thing is like with that happened in the 80s and 90s, and that is what's happening now too. Like all those guns that we left there. I mean, which is just, I'm sure many people have seen the videos of the Taliban just going into these armories.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
getting their loadouts together. And
Call of Duty style.
I mean, some of this shit's pretty wild. They all have foregrips now on their like M4s or whatever. I mean, that's like
there was a lot of tactical Taliban.
there really was
roaming the palace in those videos where they're just like, my dude is just he's just dripped out, okay, wearing like, his garb and whatever. He's got slides on, but then he has like a fucking, he has an M4 with like a foregrip,
laser,
like night vision.
Yeah, like IR and shit, like shit he can't even use.
Yeah.
I know. If they sold just the accessories from those alone, they would probably make a ton of fucking money.
Oh, yeah, for
that
sure.
video of them all on the like treadmills and stuff was like too much. It's like already ready-made for whatever Adam Curtis movie is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but that's the thing is, so like we flood these areas with guns, and then I mean that's part of like, it's not like the people doing that are stupid, right? And I think that's what a lot of people like maybe misunderstand. Like Brzezinski and all the people who were started arming the Taliban, or not the Taliban, but the the Mooj or whatever people call them.
The Mooj.
But that's like people who call them that are like the same kind of people who call China the Chi-Coms.
Oh.
It's like a very it's like a
Chi-Coms.
It's like a Soldier of Fortune magazine kind of way to describe it. But
divorce dads.
Yeah,
You're talking about
absolutely.
divorce dads.
But like, we flood these areas with guns. We know they're going to get used, and like, it's not like the conflict ends and they actually did try to buy back some of the Stinger missiles. They say, or like take back some of the Stinger missiles. Didn't go down. And so that's I'm sure what's going to happen. I'm sure that there will be a low grade or mid grade conflict in Afghanistan after this. I mean, there's already, saw videos of people like raising the Northern Alliance flag. So it could just, be another round of that. Although it does look like people are pretty fucking sick of it over there at this point.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of what I wanted to get to ultimately, is that like the United States originally, alongside Pakistan, armed the insurrection movement against the USSR when there was a socialist government being established, which had a lot of problems too. Don't get me wrong. They were problematic, okay?
Yeah.
To say the least. They were so problematic that, from my understanding, even the USSR was like, you guys are kind of fucking this up.
Yeah,
okay?
They did not do a good job.
You're not doing a good job with this. Well, that's because they fucking learned socialism from going to American universities. That's what happens.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you send students over to America. Tucker Carlson is right. You learn, critical race theory and gender Marxism, and then you come back and you have a fucking failed state.
Yeah, they're like, we need
Titoism hadn't spread far and wide enough.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing is, they were like, we need to get women in as shorter skirts as possible because that's that's what freedom.
No, they were like Reddit atheists. Like they were like, we are going to like kill you if you go to a mosque. Like, we're gonna literally just empty out all the mosques, which doesn't really work out. Did not
play well. No. Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
That's again, Western revisionism.
Yeah.
That's
well, exactly. It should have been Maoist, but let's don't.
Yeah. Let's not even get to that. Yeah. Exactly. So ultimately that failed disastrously. The USSR is fucking very brutal. They lost like 20,000 troops.
Tons of people died.
Like they did end up getting their own version of Vietnam. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because like at the time, and I don't know if this is a flex or not. I don't know if this is like a post hoc rationalization to just be like, we totally knew what we were doing or not, because I do believe that the American State Department, albeit back then, were a lot more competent, and now they're not. There is that famous quote that I'm going to pull up right now, and I do actually have that quote this time. Okay, unlike the other things that I was trying to pull up, where in a 1998 interview with Brzezinski, I'm not going to say his first name, the former Carter administration national security advisor, Brzezinski reversed the U.S. government's official claim to have intervened in Afghanistan to aid the Islamic fundamentalist Mujahideen guerrilla movement only after the Soviet invasion. Only after the Soviet Union invaded the country, And he admitted that the administration had armed the Muslims 6 months earlier and thus knowingly increased the probability that the Soviets would intervene. It would be their Vietnam, he said proudly in an interview. And lastly, he said, what is more important to the history of the world, the Taliban or the collapse of the Soviet Empire?
Yeah. So again, I agree with you. Like, I don't know how much of that is post hoc rationalization or not.
Yeah.
I judging by the U.S.'s activities in other countries that had, maybe USSR or even non-aligned governments, or USSR aligned governments or non-aligned governments, we often, almost always funded opposition, a lot of the times armed opposition. So it wouldn't be surprised me whatsoever.
Also fundamentalist or very violent, very fundamentalist, very reactionary, fascist.
Whoever.
Always.
Look at just Central America, for example. Yeah. Also, dope dealers. We love funding dope dealers because we love getting money from dope dealers.
Exactly. Well, it's because the American taxpayer, and I said this yesterday, the American taxpayer is fickle. They don't really like funding, covert operations.
Mm-hmm.
Like they need accountability. These things like accounting, accountability. Where is the money going?
Yeah.
Like, and it's the most successful way to fund your underground operations is by selling dope,
selling heroin.
So,
Turns out people will buy your heroin, and so you might as well. The thing is too,
simple supply and demand.
Exactly.
Free market.
Something a lot of people get wrong is that they think heroin in America comes from, or heroin that's used by pharmaceutical companies comes from Afghanistan. I think less than 10% does. Most of it comes from Mexico. All the pharmaceutical companies' dope comes from Tasmania.
Yeah.
Which we need to.
I did not know that.
Yeah. If you're taking
they're looking kind of good right now. If you know what I'm saying, Tasmania. Watch out.
We need to invade Tasmania.
Yeah.
But I hear they've been studying that critical race theory. We need boots on the ground.
But Afghanistan is the massive supplier of heroin to basically everywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
It's Europe
Like
especially.
all the street grade heroin, for the most part, is coming from Afghanistan, but the pharmaceuticals, like you mentioned, is from Tasmania.
Yeah, well, no, most of the street grade American heroin in America is now coming from Mexico.
Mexico?
Yeah, they got better at growing it.
Well, isn't that also a consequence potentially of Mexican military forces kind of learning from the best?
Very similar situation out there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. With special forces.
With special forces, I'm
Yeah,
of course
yeah.
referencing that.
But yeah, with Afghanistan, it's like we just pumped as many guns into the country as possible, advisors, special operations people, and then the government collapsed, and that was it. That there was a civil war after that, and then the Taliban took over, and using a lot of those same weaponry. And the thing is, I think that people talk about the war in Afghanistan that started in 2001 as I don't know. It's hard to say as a binary win or a loss, right? Because our official goal of going into Afghanistan was to get Osama bin Laden. Did not go down like that. Famously, did not get him, or maybe did not ever get him, or whatever happened there in 2011.
You're a truther. He's not,
dude. If you're,
he was dead long before he was.
They did drop the mixtape of Saddam being hung literally on 8. I remember as a Muslim boy in, I think I was in Turkey at the time, to be fuck you to the entire Muslim world. They were this is what we do to leaders. They leaked it. Kim Kardashian leaked her,
Yeah.
They leaked the mixtape.
One night in Baghdad.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, that was,
Oh God, man.
there was
the crossover imagery I'm getting of his eyes and night vision are just ruining me forever.
Exactly. Well, so was Saddam, ironically.
Yeah.
So they didn't do that for Osama. Kind of, I don't know, kind of suspicious.
And then they made Zero Dark 30 right after, just to sort of hammer home that story.
Hammer it home.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
I'm going to go one
really
step
boring.
further. I'm going to say, you know what? It's like the woke or broke, woke, bespoke meme.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about Osama was dead before. Bespoke trutherism, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for the mega mind take, though?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, Galaxy Brain,
Osama,
let's go.
Obama.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
They're related.
Obama?
They're related. Of course, he wouldn't kill them. They're
Dude,
related to one another.
I've never seen them in the same place at the same time.
Exactly.
I have actually, but it was like a.
Oh fuck!
I don't. Yeah.
Shit.
Signed an NDA.
All right, scratch that. But everything else before that,
I had
The
sex with
Bohemian
both of
Grove.
them. Yeah, so they made me sign an
we were on
NDA.
Epstein's Island together.
Yeah.
I'm saying it, dude.
I've been drinking pre-workout already. I'm ready to run through a brick wall, baby. Okay.